It is the night all of Hollywood waits for. The weekend of the 87th Annual Academy Awards presentation is scheduled in Los Angeles. And as usual, there are a slew of very good movies, not so good movies as well, very good actors and not so good actors in search of that Oscar. And joining us to discuss all of this and make some predictions as well, because we have a lot of folks here doing some Oscar handicapping. We have, and if you just roll that, I'll read that. If we can read that there. All right, I'll look down here if you don't mind. We have, first of all, Paul Levinson is joining us to discuss this. We also have returning for this segment is Ben Arredondo is joining us. He's executive director of the New York City Picture Start Film Festival. And via Skype, we have Charleston Heston's son, Fraser Heston, who is a producer, a filmmaker, a director as well. And he's in there. We're all going to discuss this. The handicapped and Barna Donovan is also joining us. He's a professor of media studies at St. Peter's University. We have a packed house here. Okay, so it's the 87th Academy Awards. There are a lot of films out there, a little controversial, which we'll discuss later. I've seen some of them. I haven't seen all of them. Any favorites, gentlemen?
Well, I'll start with an unorthodox favorite, The Theory of Everything.
You like that?
Yeah, I mean, I liked all the movies, but look, I think Stephen Hawking is one of the great minds in human history. I thought the film was brilliantly done, and I was glad to see that it was nominated, and I'd be even happier if it won.
All right, we'll leave that aside. Your favorite, did you see some of them or all of them?
I've seen all of them,
okay.
And well, my favorite was Boyhood. I liked all of them. That's why I was so happy with this year's nominations. Every single one I really enjoyed. Usually I would personally rate...
There's no clunkers in there?
No, these are all films that I'm looking forward to actually buying the DVD so I can see them again. My favorite, and which I'm hoping will get the Best Picture, will be Boyhood, because I thought that this was just really a game changer in the way that the film was made. Taking 12 years to make a movie, and even narrative-wise, that it has this even flow, no melodramatic major turns, twist to the plot. It's the impressive drama of an ordinary life. No one's done this before.
Ben, you've seen him as well. Which one are you?
I have. So I'm going to agree here as well. Boyhood is my favorite. It's
now, a movie that was done for over a period of 12 years, you have to think is going to get some type of an award. They can't let this movie that was really 12 years in the making not win something.
Well, it goes
Before you go on, let's go to Fraser Heston, who is joining us as well, the son of Charlton Heston. He's a filmmaker, director, producer. You've been around the block. You've seen the movies. What do you think? What's your favorite?
My favorite is Birdman. I think it's an extraordinary piece of filmmaking, magnificent job of acting by all the actors. I think essentially, it probably is certainly one of the top two favorites between Birdman and Boyhood. Both amazing films. I think it's going to be very close.
Fraser, how many times is an actor nominated for an award when, you know, maybe it's a body of work and not that particular film, that particular year? Maybe it's his time, Michael Keaton's time to win it?
Sure. I think that there's always a sentimental favorite. I think Michael Keaton has been around the block a few times. He has a lot of respect in this industry. He's carried himself very well in the awards that he has won at the Golden Globes and so on. I think he's, got a very good shot at it.
That's the case for Julianne Moore this year as well. I mean, Julianne Moore has been nominated.
You're talking about the gentleman that we know as the insurance guy who does the TV commercials. We Are Farmers.
J.K. Simmons, yeah. But I'm saying Julianne Moore has been nominated several times for much bigger movies. This year she is the favorite to win, and I'm not sure a lot of people have seen.
Well, I saw the Grand Budapest Hotel. I thought that was very good. Did you enjoy that as well?
No, I have to say I thought it was terrible.
Really?
Yeah, I mean I didn't see it in a movie theater, so maybe that made a difference. Saw it at home with my wife, and okay, it had some funny parts to it, but basically it was a waste of time.
I disagree.
Well, what did you really think? Barney, you have a smile on during that. Did you see it as well?
Yes, I enjoyed it. I love what Wes Anderson does. He does this in almost all of his films, actually, where he creates a world that it's his very subjective, impressionistic take on the world. It's like looking at impressionistic painting. This is how Wes Anderson sees the world, and I appreciate that.
I thought it was unique. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's totally unique. It's brilliant and creative. I think it's one of his best works. I totally enjoyed it.
I just want to say, I think it's what you meant was abstract painting, because that what you just said is
Didn't you tell me though you liked all of them in the beginning?
Yes. Okay. Well, I didn't like that.
Was there? And we'll start handicapping in a bit.
I just want to say also there was one which should have been nominated that I was disappointed that it wasn't, Interstellar, which has received some attention.
That's a huge surprise for me too.
Okay, let's go back to Fraser Heston for just a moment. Were there any clunkers in that batch, in your mind at least? And you could be honest with us.
Sorry, any controversy over what? I didn't catch the last thing.
All right, so you liked them all as well.
I like all the films. I think probably if there's anything that's overrated, I think it's Boyhood. I think Boyhood's a magnificent production achievement. To pull that off over 12 years is extraordinary. But as a film, it just didn't speak to me in the same way that, say, Birdman or Imitation Game or Whiplash, for that matter.
Now, this is the beauty of opinions. I happen to love Grand Budapest Hotel. Paul, you do not. I spoke with one of our producers earlier today. She said Birdman was awful.
It's interesting.
And this is why we have varying opinions here.
But let me just say, I agree with the point that Mr. Heston made. Often, movies receive attention because of the way in which they were made. And as far as I'm concerned, what counts is the experience you have when you see it. And I thought Boyhood was excellent. I didn't think it was a masterpiece. I think what's propelled it, however, to this point is the fact that we know it was made over 12 years, which is unusual.
All right, we're gonna nail you down on a prediction in just a bit, but in the meantime, let's talk about the best supporting actors. Is Robert Duvall in The Judge, a movie I saw as well, Ethan Hawke in Boyhood, Edward Norton in Birdman, Mark Ruffalo in Foxcatcher, which didn't get a lot of attention aside from critical acclaim, J.K. Simmons in Whiplash as well. Any of these actors stand out to you?
J.K. Simmons and Robert Duvall both are standouts, but I think this is this category is a given. J.K. Simmons, he's won every other award in this category.
Well, I agree. It's going to be J.K. Simmons, and personally, I've been joking around with some students that as a professor, it makes an impression. I don't wonder what Paul will think of this. I'll tell him that you guys started getting out of line. I'll go old J.K. Simmons on you in class.
Okay. Well, I agree. J.K. Simmons. I mean, I certainly wouldn't mind if Robert Duvall won.
He's been around forever. Yeah, J.K. Simmons.
That's
I'm
right.
talking about.
Yeah. Well, J.K. Simmons, Law and Order. That's the first time he played, I think, a shrink on Law and Order. He was a major character in The Closer. He did a great job with Kira Sedgwick in that television series, and I think he's fine in this movie, as well as being the man in that commercial.
The Farmer's Insurance.
That's right.
Fraser Heston, from your vantage point where you are, what is the buzz there? Who wins this best actor?
I think the buzz is all about J.K. as well. I think Mr. Simmons' performance was extraordinary. But don't forget Ed Norton in Birdman.
Yeah,
there was a lot of buzz about him when that first came out. An amazing performance. As an actor's son, that one really spoke to me.
Well, you know how this works. Everybody makes predictions, and we go in with one or two choices that everybody says has to win. And then there's a surprise here. Any surprises here? Do you see anybody, maybe a different movie winning out of the blue, or an actor? You know, Hollywood is fickle.
Yeah. I think Bradley Cooper may be a huge surprise
for
America.
Is that because he's been nominated 3 years in a row?
Well, because the Academy loves him. Yes, he's been nominated. The movie is huge, big box office winner. I think he's going to be a surprise. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes it.
Would you gentlemen agree?
Sure.
Yes, he's going to be tough to beat, because although the movie is somewhat controversial, his performance is peerless. And so therefore, I think he might be rewarded for his excellent performance.
And I don't think American Sniper is going to win anything else in any other category.
Is that because, and we'll talk about this in the next segment, there's a war aspect to it?
I don't think it's because
Hollywood.
I don't think it's because of the war aspect. I think because the other films are stronger.
Okay. What about, the discussion of not being there, which we'll talk about now. Selma, nominated for an award, but the director is not.
I thought it was a great movie, and I think it deserves more awards than it's received so far. But I think that anytime you have a movie with a particular, specific, historical take, it's a very difficult road for that movie to travel because people pick it apart because it's not completely accurate. So in the case of Selma, you know, was it fair to Lyndon Johnson?
Which we are going to discuss in the next segment, how some of these historical
Yeah.
movies are not. But, you know, you would think with Selma or some of these, and it has happened before where the movie is huge and the director's not nominated. But this one in particular is kind of curious. It's a head scratcher for me. Would you agree?
Yes, I can see why people would think that, but I think that there are some flaws with some of the movie, and I don't think that, you know, because of the subject matter, it should get a nomination if the movie is not as tight as the other movies. You know, and as a director, she took, you know, some creative freedom with her portrayal of LBJ, and, you know, that may have come back to, you know, be unfortunate for her.
Fraser was overlooking, did Barna in the movie Selma a surprise to you as well?
No, I don't think so. I don't think you can really read that much into that. You have to remember the way the nominations work. There are up to 10 Best Picture nominations. This year, the top 8 came through and were chosen, including Selma, which is an amazing compliment. But there are only 5 Best Director nominations. Also, only the 400 Best Directors, there are only 400 of us in the Academy who vote, nominate directors. Everyone in the Academy nominates Best Picture. So it's a slightly different group of people to do the nominating. You're going to end up with omissions, like Clint Eastwood, after all, was also omitted.
Fraser, were you surprised that Foxcatcher was not there, and along those lines that Steve Carell was not nominated?
Well, I think, you know, Steve Carell's performance was remarkable. I don't think the picture is considered one of the great pictures of the year. I think it's considered a good picture. I enjoyed it very much, but again, it really has to stand out. Academy voters, they're a tough sell.
Finally, we have Neil Patrick Harris hosting again. He seems like an affable guy and funny. And they've gone through, I remember growing up, Bob Hope did it for 27 years in a row, and then Johnny Carson did it for 10 or 12 years. It seems like every year they're changing the host. Is that a good idea or a bad idea?
Well, I would like to see a host every time as great as Bob Hope, as great as Billy Crystal in his prime. I don't think Neil Patrick Harris rises to that level. I think he'll be a satisfactory host. But, you know, it's very hard to tell how people are going to perform.
You need a certain personality to pull that off, and I think they tried with James Franco one year and the actress, I forget her name, Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway.
And it flopped.
That was terrible.
You sort of need a personality that's strong enough, but also won't take away from the stars or insult them, which Letterman did and was never invited back again. So, you know, is there somebody who fits that bill in this day and age?
I'm willing to give Neil Patrick Harris a chance. I think, like you said, I think he's an affable guy. I think he can rise to the occasion. And I'm fine with having them search every year until they find the great host. So.
I think Jimmy Fallon is a good fit. I think Jimmy Fallon could be the next.
You think so?
Bob Hope, yeah.
Okay, and let's throw this back to Fraser. Fraser, on the ground there, and where you are in Hollywood, what do you think about this? Is there a host that stands out to you, or are they still looking?
I don't think anybody can fill Bob Hope's shoes, and I think anybody would be crazy to try. I think Billy Crystal is a tough act to follow as well. He did a great job. Everybody loved him. But I think we should give Neil Patrick Harris a chance. He's a funny guy. He's a comedian. He's an actor. He's actually a magician. And a dancer as well. So I think we should expect some fun from him.
Gentlemen, we thank you all. Quickly, real quick predictions. Best Picture. We got to go around. We just have a few seconds here.
The Theory of Everything.
Boyhood.
Boyhood.
And Fraser, your prediction, real quick. Best Picture.
Birdman.
Okay, there you go. I see everybody agrees. All right, well, the Oscars are not without controversy. When we return, a look behind the statue and one movie in particular that many say glorifies war. We'll be right back.